Hello, everyone. On the backs of a recap episode with LAFC, we are now recording an Inter Miami preview. So, welcome to Ball Watching. This is Justin, like our third episode this week, maybe four, no, three, and then gonna be four with the recap right on Sunday. It's been a hectic one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty excited for like the Leagues Cup and All-Star break because I could use a break from you as well.
Yeah, mutual
Yeah,
for sure,
yeah.
for sure. So I know we do not have time, unfortunately, to do the five-a-side today, but I want to say a quick plug for anyone that wants to hear more about LAFC. If anyone wants to, I know that was not the best game to look at, but we do still have our recap streaming that released technically, I guess, time of recording last night, so just a couple hours ago. So make sure you go hit that up. I promise you. I said this on social media. You will crack a smile. We'll make you happy. It's about as fun as you could. It's about as much fun as you can have talking about a 3-0 loss.
It was for sure a postmortem. We're going to throw it way back to when you said that at the beginning of the season. But I will say we covered a couple of things in there that we think the team needs to do looking forward. It's not just like awful game. Let's cover all the lowlights. It's how do we bounce back from this? Because we have a tough team coming up on Saturday, and we're going to touch on that right now. I think even though they're bottom of the table, a lot of young guys, new coach, the whole team's getting excited as Messi's going to debut the game after ours. So definitely not one to overlook.
No, it's not. No, it's not. So if you want to hear about LAFC, go check out our recap. That is just now streaming on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you want to find your podcast. So we're going to pivot now into some other kind of news before we jump into the preview. But we got a couple things. We got some rumors floating around in the transfer mill to break down. We got some injury updates briefly. We got a City 2 update. And we also have an update, though a short one, on the Gold Cup with the U.S. bouncing out, unfortunately. But Justin, you want to get us started?
Yeah, I would say in the rumor mill, AZ. He's got a couple teams looking at him now, dude. So Villarreal has now joined the group with Bayer Leverkusen, who, if everybody remembers, that's who we played in the kind of inaugural game at City Park. What was that, back in December? Freezing cold game. Then Paderborn and Hanover are other notable teams looking, but there are multiple other ones looking for the 21-year-old Nartine, which is insane considering we only got him for $150K in GAM from Minnesota United. Just one of those just absolutely dropping the ball in that one. So I feel bad for them, but we'll take it. And then quickly, just on a quick injury update as well, Nilsson did travel with the team on the road trip, and he was pictured in trainings. But you did see, I saw Klaus even was posting, he was signing autographs at home, but then also he was posting like him doing ladders and stuff at the facility. So both of those guys, I would say, are pretty close to coming back.
Yeah, no, it's a good personnel update. The AZ thing, obviously we've only had him for a brief time, but for anyone that's already grown attached, this is the nature of the game. This is the business side of things where, obviously love him. He's been so great to watch these couple of games. And I think there's going to be some time before things happen here because he is so young and it's just kind of starting for him in terms of his big first tier experience. He lit up Next Pro last year, but this is where the business part of the club will come into play. How well are we able to effectively sell players as well? This is a huge part. Like, we actually fleeced Minnesota getting him for that price. So $150K in game. I think there was some performance incentives as well that might tack more onto that, but still, ultimately, this is a net positive for all parties. Hopefully we get to encourage him to make that next step in his development and become a club that isn't afraid to sell players and bring in new ones that are, young, that are hungry. I think that'll be a big part of who we are as a club.
Yeah, and I don't want people to think that, we're just bringing them up and having a farm system and then trading them out to get money from foreign teams or anybody else in the MLS. I think this is going to be one that we're going to want to keep very close to the chest. And then AZ can be a guy that we can start to center our offense around, looking forward to being only 21 years old. So just an exciting part for him and happy to see him doing so well, especially the Open Cup is really when he made, and he had his 2 goals there, and he's just been taking off ever since. So, Jake, I'll quickly, before we get into Miami, I'll give us all City 2 update. Record and standings, 23 points off 17 games played this year, 4-8-6, win-loss draw, 8th in the West, tied on points with Minnesota United FC 2. Just lost to the LA Galaxy, 1-0 on a goal in the 71st. So kind of similar to where we talked about last time. Again, top 7 teams in each conference get in, 10 games left in the regular season. So it's time to make a little bit of a push to give us a little bit of cushion so we're not backing up against those last couple games to get some much needed points. And then quickly, Gold Cup. Also just kind of a postmortem for us. U.S. versus Panama. We lost in PKs. Very disjointed. The guys, we know that it's like our B-C team, lack of chemistry. There was a beautiful finish from Ferreira in extra time, even though to even the score and head to PKs. But unfortunately went down. What I think the most amazing stat, though, Jake, is that Matt Turner has now saved 14 of 29 PKs he has faced as a pro. That's essentially 50%, which and that's saved. That's not the other team missing the goal. It's either him actually saving the ball, which is absurd to me and great to look forward for U.S. men's national team coming up. And then Jamaica played Mexico. Mexico won 3-0. The final will be this Sunday at 7 p.m. Mexico versus Panama.
Yeah, go Panama. In that fixture, Panama looked decent. I don't know if there was too much to take away from the U.S. men's national team there. I think there's maybe a couple of guys that might have rose their stock to be considered as part of like the 18 camp, but I don't know if there was really anyone that's pushing or knocking on the door of anyone in the A team, given these performances.
I don't know. I would say if I had to pick one or two, I mean, obviously Turner's already in it. I would say Ferreira. I think I know he kind of fell off there. Look at Vasquez coming up just with how young and how big he is. And then, dude, Cade Cowell. That man is an absolute beast. I don't see how we don't have him at least on the bench going forward as a first team. I think he's a spark plug. And I think we already have with Balogun. I don't think we need a Ferreira up top to finish. So looking for one of these wingers and just a big, stronger guy. Because we already have Aronson, we have Weah, we have a couple of these guys that can get up and down, but just someone that can bully guys.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think Turner definitely. I'm hoping that Matt maybe considers a move this summer as well to get some more regular club playing time, because I just think he's just not going to play much at Arsenal. But I am excited definitely about the team. But yeah, like you said, I mean, Ferreira, keeps his place in the depth chart. Not going to push any of our starters, I think, at this point. And Vasquez, young, keep an eye on him. Same thing with Cade Cowell. I think going back to San Jose, I hope he just lights it up for them. And we're done playing them, so I'm just happy for them just to keep going. So I'm with you. And same thing for City too. I'm really hoping they make that push. They're right in the border, right in the cut line right now, tied on points. So I'm hoping they can continue to push into that.
Shout out AJ. Shout out Johnny Klein. Shout out Go Bills.
Go Bills and go City on Saturday when we take on Inter Miami. So Inter Miami is in just when I see the notes here, we put forward for RD instead of third, but they're a couple seasons into their MLS life. They were established by Big David Beckham. And this is the crazy story, kind of like the deal that paved the way for Messi to even consider coming to the MLS. But basically, Beckham, as part of his initial contract with the Galaxy, got a clause inserted there where if he wanted to, he'd be able to purchase an expansion team at just $25 million as part of his deal. And that was back in 2007 when I think they were running about 10-15 million for the expansion fees. They're just slightly higher now at a couple $100 million, I think, coming in now. So great deal for him. What a steal. And he's got a bunch of owners as well with him as part of that team. They actually made the playoffs last year. They have not always been as bad as they are this season. They finished sixth in the East, went 14-6 win-loss draw, but they did get knocked out in the first round pretty handedly by New York City FC. So I think that was a 3-0 loss. And this season, not looking too great for them. But they do some St. Louis connections. Yeah.
Jake LaCava was selected and then traded for $250K in GAM. He's now on loan in the USL. He's the youngest player, was the young player of the year in 2022. And then also Indy Vasilev. I forgot about him. So he started 13 of 25 games for them in 2022 and notched 2 goals and 2 assists. So yeah, I mean, we love Indy. I think Indy's been on a little bit of a dip right now, but I mean, just that left foot where I'm not concerned. He's going to bounce back, and I think it was a great pickup from them.
Yeah. So Jake LaCava was a guy that we selected, then traded in the expansion draft. And Indy we selected and then ended up signing from Aston Villa. So thank you, Miami, for those connections. But 2023, how are we looking? Obviously, we have not played them yet. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to play them. I don't know if we'll play them again next year. I would really hope so to see us take on Messi, but it won't be home. So for anyone hoping that happens, we're looking at least 2 years.
I'm kind of thinking that on these ones, maybe haven't looked into. Wow, I just stuttered my way through that. I haven't looked into the MLS season enough to know like what future outlook looks like. Wow, I'm struggling. But I would assume if it's anything like college basketball or NFL or anything, you're going to have, if you have a home this year, we'll have a away next year and then a home. And so that's my hope, at least. I would like to see Messi here in 2 years.
See, I don't see it because there's too many East teams for us to play every single East team every year. And since we play every West team twice. And so, though, that every team is going to want to play Miami next year and the next year and the next year. So I think we're looking at maybe seeing Messi here maybe once in his career with Miami. And that would likely be in 25 and 26 if he extends his contract. It actually, we could totally miss him, unfortunately, just because of how it shook out this year. But that aside, let's get into Miami. And I want to say missing him at home, which would be great. But Miami has 18 points currently in the MLS. So last in the East, dead last. They're 5-13-3 in those 21 games. Home record, they've got about 4 W's, which is nice. Away, pretty abysmal with just one win. Goals for 22. We have quite a few bit more than that, probably getting close to doubling that. We could actually double them if we just knock them out of the park in this game. And then goals against 33, so a -11 goal differential, and that's not going to take you very far in this league, man. They've got some decent results, but also some bad ones.
Yeah, I was just confirming they are also tied for last in the entire MLS.
Yeah.
They do have a game in hand with Colorado, but both have 18 points. So definitely not a good start for them. But looking at some key results, these were surprising me. So I got to look back and like their most recent ones, they had a 3-1 loss to the Revolution, but earlier in the season, they beat them 2-1. They have a 4-1 loss to the Union earlier in the season. They beat them 2-0. Then they only lost 1-0 at Cincy. And then their last game was a draw of 2-2 versus DC United. So I think before we get into players to watch, I think looking at some of these, it's a long season, right? You know that teams can be a little bit better at home. Looking at those, they beat the Revs and Union at home and then lost to them both away. Lost only by 1 at Cincy, and then nice little draw before coming into this. And then, like I said, this locker room is starting to get hype. I don't know if you saw, I'll let you be the first one to touch on players to watch. I know we're not going to see Messi, but also if you saw it last night on Twitter and Instagram, he was at a Publix, which is essentially like our Deerbergs or Schnucks in St. Louis. And like the carts, I zoomed in, just a ton of Kellogg cereal. And I swear that's a Trix box as well. And I know he has children, but I just love to see if like Messi's eating Trix. She's like taking selfies with people at like the local grocery store, just already living it up.
I love that. I love how how much money he's making, which we're about to get into here, and just who he is, just probably the biggest name athlete in the world at this point. And he's just like every other guy in every other family, goes to the grocery store with the fam, picks up the Trix cereal, the Little Bite muffins. He's just like one of us. So I love seeing that. I really do hope they leave him generally alone with family, especially. I know everyone wants to see him, especially like kids. Go ahead, like for sure, but you got to hopefully give him some level of privacy or just not make his life miserable while he's here. But he will not be financially miserable. This guy is starting to have some contract details emerge from his agent who's alluded to stuff. So this is not going to include any bit of the Apple or Adidas part of it. And I don't know how much we'll get behind the curtain on those in terms of publicly, but Messi is set to earn close to $60 million a year in salary, plus owning a stake in Inter Miami and his signing bonus that they're giving him. So his contract is going to run from right now, July 2023, until December 2025. I'm sure they're going to try to keep him on a little bit longer than that, especially into the World Cup in 2026 to keep drumming up interest, maybe make him an ambassador since he's already said he's not playing in it. There's also believed to be a contract stipulation saying that he cannot be loaned out to European teams on loan during the off season or even in season for the MLS Cup. We saw David Beckham do that kind of quite a bit since our seasons kind of flip-flop with European seasons, which I like because I think it's going to make sure that he doesn't get hurt out there and he brings his best to our league. And then finally, fun fact, aside from just barely edging out MLS's current highest paid player, Xherdan Shaqiri, with $8 million a year, LOL to that. He's just absolutely stomping that list right now. Messi will be the 5th highest paid salaried athlete in the U.S. Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns in the NBA are number 1 currently at 56.1 mil. And St. Louis's own Bradley Beal is number 10 on that list with 50.2 mil a year. And Messi's right in the middle. And that's just salary. He will probably be the highest paid athlete in general when you consider all revenue streams. But fun fact there.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of also revert it out too, if people don't follow the NBA as much, looking at, so Pat Mahomes signed a 10-year, $503 million deal. So he's still making way more than him. And then also that was above, right before that, baseball, Mike Trout signed a 12-year, $430. So this number that he is making solely with soccer is absurd. And you know that the back end, like the deal that Beckham got with $25 million, one of the best of all time. Yeah. Like looking at our expansion fee, I think it was like $350 million. Yeah. So he saved $325 million just on that alone. Plus all now the revenue is going to make from Messi. So looking at this, I think if we ever do get some behind the scenes on Adidas and Apple and everything that comes into that, it's just going to be absolutely absurd. But Messi will not be playing this game. So looking at who do you need to watch coming into this game, Josef Martinez, right-footed center forward. He's a 30-year-old Venezuelan, $5.2 million market value on transfer market, 6 goals, 1 assist so far this year, which seems pretty strong. But so you guys have definitely recognized this name for. Came from Atlanta United after having an unreal first 3 seasons with them of 19, 31, and 27 goals before tearing his ACL in 2020, then having surgery on the same knee last season. So I think Atlanta's kind of like seeing the I think it's time's kind of coming up on him. So, but he has scored 3 goals in his last 5 games for them. So he is one of the guys to definitely look out for. Leads the team in goals, XG, goals per 90, shots on target per 90. He's the man up top, pretty much trying to hold this team afloat, just to at least keep them within playoff talk with this amount of games left until Messi hits the field with Busquets and Jordi Alba.
And I think you might have already mentioned, Justin, but that Miami's been playing a lot of the young guys recently too. So obviously Joseph Martinez a little bit on the older side, but still proven in the MLS. And they've got 2 kind of young guys that I want to keep an eye on, and that's Leonardo Campana, who's a left-footed striker for them. He's a 22-year-old from Ecuador. 4 goals, 2 assists so far in 15 games played this season. He started 10 of those. And he returned permanently back to Inter Miami after being on loan to them last season from Wolves in the Premier League. So obviously a big talent. He leads the team, unfortunately, in big chances missed, but that's also an indicator of he's finding himself in dangerous positions as well. And I think with time and practice, obviously, he's going to get better in that final kind of touch there. And then Benjamin Kremaski. I looked up this guy's name as well. This is a guy that we need to keep an eye on from a national team picture as well. So he's got dual eligibility between Argentina, of course, when Messi's arriving to the team, and the U.S. And he's an 18-year-old homegrown from Miami. 1 goal, 3 assists, and one of the 6 homegrown players that played in their last game against DC. So they are playing the kids right now. He started and played the full 90 last 3 games, so I do expect to see him. And he's a creative player, an attacking mid. And like I said, I think he's in that U20 kind of camp for Argentina right now. We could try to keep an eye on him, see if we could poach or steal him. But with Messi in his ear, if he actually is a good talent, he will definitely go to Argentina.
Yeah, I will say he reminds me, he looks like him. It reminds me of not Kid and Cal, sorry, Kid Glover. So like kind of your young guy, they have the long hair, but hey, guess what? Our guy's 3 years younger. So just keep an eye on him. I will say he will more than he started and played the full 90 in the last 3 games. So he will definitely be playing against us as well. And then one that I put in here, Jake, that I was not 100% sure when we were doing the doc was DeAndre Yedlin. So he was with the U.S. men's national team in the Gold Cup, obviously getting bounced. He should be available and be playing in this upcoming game for Miami. He's 30-year-old American with 80 caps for the U.S. men's national team, drafted by the Sounders 2013, then went to Sunderland, then Newcastle, Galatasaray, and now to Miami. So kind of a journeyman, but it kind of shows you that he can kind of play overseas and still get good minutes while he was over there. He has 0 goals, 3 assists in 16 games, 15 starts. He's a right back, so I think that's fine. He also leads the team in fouls committed, which we know a lot of when you look at the U.S. men's national team. But I think the biggest thing to know for him, and probably the main reason he was on the U.S. men's national team, is this man's speed is absolutely absurd. I looked it up. I think in 2019, he was number 3 in the entire EPL in top speed reached at 22 miles an hour. So I don't even think I can run 14 miles an hour.
Yeah, he's got some legs beneath him for sure. And remember, that's how he broke onto the scene in the 2014 World Cup when he was a child. I think he had just graduated from Akron or left Akron and just got drafted by Seattle.
And so he also did not play much at all, if at all, in the Gold Cup. So he's going to be fresh. And so he's going to be excited. So I would definitely expect to see him starting it right back if he got back in time, which I'm assuming so, because we lost to Panama on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yep. Other honorable mentions for players we haven't mentioned this yet, but there'll be a lot of team restructuring coming up with Miami, so I'd keep an eye out for that. But John Mota is their midfielder. He had an LCL injury recently for them, a big player for them, out for at least 4 to 6 months. So probably looking at the end of the season for them if he comes back. Had 4 assists in the 9 games that he had played in all starts. They have a U.S. men's national team kind of pool goalkeeper in Drake Callender, who made the last camp before the Gold Cup. I think he was in the Nations League camp as the 3rd or 4th guy, who's a solid goaltender for them. And obviously they're looking at adding Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba, neither of whom have been, I think, revealed or publicly revealed by the club, at least. But that's every rumor that we see is Busquets is definitely coming. Jordi Alba, I think, less definitely, but still probably coming. So Messi's bringing some buddies over.
Yeah, I saw it. I was trying to find the tweet where we we're looking at this. I believe Busquets lands this week or this coming week. And so I think like Messi is doing his first in person. They're going to do like a showing or something for Messi on Sunday in front of all their fans. And then he has like his first practice Monday. I think Busquets lands Tuesday.
That's right. And they've already landed their new head coach. And I think we already teased it before. They were looking at hiring a couple different people, but Tata Martino is their coach. His full name is Gerardo Daniel Tata Martino. And he is a coach you probably have heard of because of his time either at Atlanta or coaching the Mexican national team. This is a move that makes a ton of sense. He's one of the better known coaches within the Americas, and I'm thinking North America, South America. He coached Joseph Martinez at Atlanta, got some of the best years out of him. And he also coached Messi while at Barcelona coaching and Argentina, though both those stints a little bit on the briefer side. So he's coached at Barca. That was back in 2013-14 season, Atlanta 2016-2018, and Argentina during the 14-16 time, and then most recently Mexico. And really, honestly, whenever he was coaching Mexico, we kind of owned them. So I'm not personally that scared of Tata Martino, but he is well revered in the coaching sphere, and people that talk about him, I have some quotes put down here. The players seem to like him a lot that do get coached by him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's one of those things that when you're bringing in Messi, you also need to bring in a veteran coach and a guy that would know Messi and all of that. And so I love that he said it. Gerardo Daniel Tata Martino. So looking at his style, it's a 4-3-3, usually or sometimes about a 3-4-3. In Atlanta, he actually introduced counter-pressing, which was atypical at the time, and building from the back. But like you said, for some quotes, it didn't matter who you were. They gained a lot of respect from the rest of the locker room. Tata was like that. He was not going to let anyone run over the team or let anyone be bigger than the team, or especially bigger than his authority. And I think that's something kind of tough to try to own as you're bringing in some of these superstars. Right. And also a lot of guys that are coming to play, either younger guys that we already mentioned or guys that are living in Miami. You kind of get a little bit of swagger and you come to the locker room and think you're too big for your britches. And I think he's going to be one that's going to keep that pretty close. Yeah.
And those comments were from Atlanta's captain. And in Mexico also, engaged a pretty high press, but able to counter as well. And also able to sometimes dominate possession depending on certain opponents. So they had some flexibility in their style of play there. Big into through balls and playing with width and stretching the field as much as you can. So additional thoughts kind of on the formation style you're kind of going to see from Miami is obviously still very early days, but this is a team that does look to play around possession. Lots of short pass. They are able to also shoot from distance. They have a lot of goals from that, actually, which is ironic. They have a decent, shot creation, shot ability, goal creating ability from free kicks. And they really do let individuals kind of shine sometimes as well, which is kind of what you have to do sometimes when your team is kind of a hodgepodge of young guys, some proven guys, and just not getting the results that you need this season so far. So let's get into kind of the breakdown of trends and storylines. But before we do, Justin, if you're in here listening on YouTube, we're growing the subscribers, but we still have like over half of you are not subscribed. So if you're listening to this, you hear my voice right now, do the work. Go hop down there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't look the other way. Don't look at someone else to tell you to do that or tell your friend to do that. I'm looking at you, talking to you. Go subscribe and like the channel. And then on podcasts, same thing. Go throw us a rating if you haven't. We're trying to improve those, obviously, and be honest. Give us some feedback with how you feel. We are open. We are open here on this podcast, open to feedback, and we definitely want to make sure that it's engaging and fun for you all, especially with who was that guy, that Charlie guy, just ripping us in the YouTube comments last week. Oh,
I love it. That's fine with me. And I would say also give us a shout. I mean, shoot us a DM. Like Shelby shot us that DM, and like she's like, "Hey, I don't have a whole lot of City fans that are friends with me, and like I can't talk to it. So need you guys to cover this on the pod." And I'm happy
to be your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Throw a story up. We'll share it up. Anything you guys want to do? 3 other quick plugs, Jake. Get to the pitch this weekend. It's going to be hot. Get a frozen Irish coffee. Series 6, 15% off using code BALLWATCHING. Get yourself some more City gear or St. Louis gear in general. She just dropped something with the zoo, which is pretty tight. And then Soul Juice, 20% off. You can use our code online, or you can go to Deerbergs. All right, back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Back to Inter Miami. Like I said, team restructuring going on right now. So they're in a little bit of flux. They just mutually terminated the contract of one of their DPs in Pizarro, so no longer with them, effectively going into this game. They're number 15 in the East. Like we said, they're tied for last in Supporter Shield, so tied for last basically in the MLS. Last 5 away from home. LLLL draw. So they're coming off a draw, but a lot of L's before that. And when they look at just how generally they perform in away games, they have a -11 goal differential. and they gather usually 0.4 points per match in all away games. So those are some general things to start before we get into the offensive beast of Inter Miami. I don't know. Do you want to kick us off, Justin?
Yeah, well, I was kind of surprised. So their away goal differential is -11. That's their total goal differential as well. So at home, they're just literally dead even, which I was surprised by. Offensive XG of 1.18 per 90. That's 22 out of 29 in the MLS. They average 1.05 goals for per game. That's 6th to last. So both of those are, what does that make them, the 23rd?
Yeah.
Yep. So literally bottom 5th of the entire league. Their away form is pretty much just as bad. Their XG of 1.18, same as their home, is 17th for away. 7 of their 22 goals forward when they've come away as well. So obviously doing better at home down in Miami, which is actually not in Miami. It's Fort Lauderdale. It's kind of upset me that, remember when we went down there and we drove by, it's like 45 minutes north of actual Miami with traffic is like a day and a half. 27% of their goals for come from the 41st to 50th minute, and 36% comes from the 71st to 90th. Again, this has to be one of those games, dude, at home. It's going to be absolutely rocking for all the people that we were hoping to see, that Messi was going to be there. We cannot give up a leaky late goal.
No, and we gave up 2 in this last game. So our stats are getting even worse on that side of things. No, but 3 with the 70th included. I'm talking just 80 to 90 minutes.
Yeah, well, their goals are 71st to 90th. So we would give up 3 during the time where they score a third amount of their goals. Yeah. So they score a goal every 129 minutes. So absolutely awful there. 15 of their 22 goals are outside of the 18.
Inside the 18.
Inside the 18. I apologize. Yeah. 3 headers, and 7 of the 18 are outside of the 18 with 1 free kick there, which that free kick number is about to absolutely skyrocket.
Yeah, and that was of interest to me. So 22 goals scored, 15 into the 18, 7 outside. That's, almost half of your goals. The third of your goals have come from outside the 18, which I think is pretty impressive from shooting distance. So they average about, every shot is about 18.8 yards in terms of distance away from the goal. So they're averaging the shot outside the 18, which is pretty nuts. They don't shoot often. They have the 3rd fewest shots in the MLS, but they are effective in terms of getting it on target. So they have the 4th highest shot on target percentage. This is a team, like we said, that possesses the ball. So they have about an average of 53% possession in these away games. Number 8 in passes connected. So top 10 in short and long balls. And then finally, in types of passes, there's a team that's going to like the through ball. They're looking to get in behind. So big task up ahead for your center backs and fullbacks in this game.
One thing that I want to mention and kind of put it into perspective with us, I was like, damn, so seven goals outside of the 18 sounds like a lot. And it is. Out of their 22, that's a high percentage. We have 6 goals outside of the 18. I'm like, damn, so we're not too far behind, but we have 40 goals total. So when you compare their percentage, they're over double of their percentage is their goals coming from outside of the 18. Right. So, but one thing I'm not worried about with that is Roman Bricky. So, but looking at defense, their XGA of 1.63 per 90 is 2nd worst in the MLS, and a 1.57 goals against per game is 3rd worst as well. So getting into the way, 1.56 GA average, in 18 of their 33 goals against, 3rd most conceded in the MLS. And their percentage of goals against is useless here, just basically for that. It's like,
anytime is good for conceding goals for Inter Miami, because they'll concede every 50 minutes as of right now in away games. They are a tackling team, top 10 in tackles, and that's across all thirds of the field, attacking, middle, and the opponent, and the defensive third. They do allow the 3rd most shots on target against in away games. They have 0 clean sheets on the road this season, but they do have the 4th most saves, probably because Drake Callender is just getting battered back there for Miami. So they also have the least clean sheets in the MLS with 2. But when you look at just his performance overall, and I'm talking about their goalkeeper, Drake Callender here, post-shot XG minus goals against. So how well is he doing keeping out goals compared to what he's letting in? They're a +1. So Berkey is still the best in this stat in the MLS at +6.8. So like effectively, I think of that as goals prevented, that you went out of your way to stop. And so they are above average, but we are still better in that category. But that's because we have the man, the myth, the legend. But let's get into keys of the games. I want to make a quick ad here, Justin. This is a game that you cannot sleep on Berkey for, because they're going to get something. They're going to get one opportunity, maybe a couple, unless we're just totally wrong and they come out just buzzing. But in normal expectations, this is the game where Berkey might be called on once or twice, but he's got to be up to snuff for it, because he's going to get called on. Got to make that one save. Keep your head in the game. It's going to be tough, because we should be dominating this game.
No, I completely agree. And I think it's one of those that we do need to rely on Berkey, because a big key to the game in this. I will say it as well. Offensive, defensively, anything. We need to score first. This place is going to be absolutely rocking. Everybody thought Messi was coming. The tickets are higher than anything else this regular season. And we need to make sure that we don't give up one early because then it's going to really punch us in the mouth. So looking at Berkey there, but generally, don't overthink this. You already talked about their last 5 games, 4 L's in a row and a draw. They lose 80% of the time on the road. We averaged 2 points per match at City Park with plus 16 goal differential. I think if we can get on them early, we could blow this out of the water. The boys are so excited to be home. That was a long trip going from Toronto straight to LA. Didn't even come home. They've been away for almost a week now.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's going to be excited for them to get home.
Yeah, and I know we're running a little bit long, so we'll kind of speed through the rest of the keys of the game. But let Miami have possession. They're a possession-based team. We're okay with that. Rotate our team, I think, back to your more preferred 11 right now, and you got to finish on a high with the Leagues Cup. You got to get 3 points in here before you hit that month-long pause on MLS play. So for the offense, like Justin said, start in the front foot. They've scored 2 goals across the entire first half of all away games. So we definitely need to come out hot. Don't stop at 1. We have had 26 goals for at home. We average 2.36 goal fours in home games. Score. Let's put more distance between us and them and lock this game up quick. Shoot often. They allow a ton of shots on target. We average 3+ more shots at home versus away games. So let's get on top and get on top quick. Defense, going to keep this simple. Don't take them lightly. Take this very seriously. Don't give them anything. Play composed. Play confident in yourself. Play simple. We don't need complex things here. They're not the most spark-filled attack right now. They will be very soon. But you need to take advantage of this while you can. Got to get into halftime, survive the halftime blitz they're probably going to have, and survive the full time. We cannot concede late goals anymore. Let's start that train today in this game.
I completely agree. Jake, are you going to pull up the starting 11 or are you just going to talk through it?
We're going to talk through it. I honestly just think the return here is basically you could kind of just go back to – you know what? Actually, let's just take the time to draw it out here. Berkey, obviously. I think because John Nelson just played all the left back minutes in that last game, I could see them putting Hebert back at left back for this one. Or I was thinking maybe even Bell could get some minutes at left back if you can try to find a place to insert him because he is the left-footed there. But I think you go back to Parker in the center of the pitch, and I think you go pair him up back with Yarrow since that was working. Yep. And then I think you go back to Watts on the right.
I completely agree with that. I would like to see Johnny, but yes, he just played a full 93 days ago. So that's the only thing is, maybe Bell, but I think it'll be Hebert.
I think midfield.
Going in front of them. I think it's going to be Blum. Do you think we'll start Leuven? Well, definitely Blum, but are we going to start Leuven?
Leuven's going to get a half. I don't know if it'll be the first half or the second half. I'm tempted to throw him in the first half.
I think you start him. I think it took him a while to get warmed up and try to hop right into that game, and he's not used to coming off the bench. I think we just start him and see how it goes.
Yeah, and then I would put Stroud back in to start. And I would put I'd put Endy back in as well to complete your midfield trio. And then it's the open position is going to be the right wing position. So I don't know. Is it Alm? Is it Celio? Is it AZ?
It's AZ.
I think it's AZ personally. And I think you start Adeniran again. Give him the start because I think the sub minutes just haven't been that impactful from him.
So no Nico at all?
In that, I guess we have our midfield 3 of Indy, Leuven, and Blum there, and then we have Stroud, Azio. I think Azio would take the right side there. So, I think in this case, if you start Leuven, I don't think there's room for Nico. Okay.
I was thinking maybe, I guess that makes sense, and maybe have Nico come off the bench.
It could be good to rest him anyways, Yeah,
that's fine.
All right.
So what's your so what's that starting lineup? What's your prediction, Jake?
Predictions. I'm going 3-0W. Keep it classy. Keep it simple. Get in the board early. Put distance between you and them. Kill game off early. Let's make it a fun night in St. Louis.
Yeah, I'm going 3-1 dub. I think we're getting 2 first half goals. This place is going to be absolutely rocking. I think we then go up 3-0 and we give up another leaky one. Unfortunately, I just can't get away from that.
Bets. I know we're looking at -190 for City money line. Inter Miami +425. Draw at the +340. So we're big favorites here. And the over under is 2.5, over at -165, under at +130. So they're expecting goals in this game. Justin, what is your best bet? The Grahammer.
So I think I like this. Just a City money, just simple City money line in the game over or City over 1.5. Either way, it's the same thing when you think about the money line is -140. But the one that I do like here that I am going to take, Jake, is City -1.5. So this is the first time we've done this. Us to win by 2 goals or more is +150. And I think that we can do that at home here. I think we're just too strong at home. This is a team that's deflated. They're just trying to get to Messi. I think they're going to be distracted this week with Messi. They're probably doing like meet and greets, and the guys are barely getting any sleep. They're so excited, the 18-year-olds and all that. I think we just take them and we take it 3-1, 3-0. I don't care, and we win by 2.
I like that. I think my bet here is just to get away from that money line. Minus 190 is fairly juicy. What would we say to a City money line and City team total over 1.5? I want to find the line for that.
That's the same thing as the game total over 1.5, because
it's the same thing.
Because think about it, if you win, City would have to win. There can't be 2 goals and us win. So it's the same line at minus 140.
That's right. So I'm going to go City money line and the over 1.5. I know it's at minus 140. It's a little bit on the juicy side, but I do think we tend to score in bunches at home most of the time, and we should win this game.
I mean, it's just basically taking 50 cents off the money line, because there's no way that this game is a 1-0 game.
Yeah,
so I like it.
I'm with you. Well, let's keep this simple. Let's make this, a night where we just come in, do the business, and get out with 3 points, and then we hit pause on the season for the MLS. Remember, so the Leagues Cup is what we're going into after this. So more coverage to come there, but I think you've got to go in on a high and put some distance between you and your fellow Western competition, which I know is getting very tight at the top there, but we still are number 1. Let's go with that attitude, and let's do the business against Inter.
Let's get down to business. Happy Friday.
Let's get down to business. Let's do it. All right. Ball watching is signing off for today. We will catch you all on Sunday to break down what we see in front of our eyes when City takes on Inter Miami at 7:30 on Saturday night. We'll see you there.